What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk to you about the three biggest problems beginner kayak fishermen face and how to solve those problems. So look, the three biggest problems in my opinion that I see from years of experience in this industry, having owned a retail shop and owning one of, if not the biggest communities in kayak fishing, is the first one is buying the wrong fishing kayak, okay? The second one is bringing too much gear, and then the third one is managing boat position. So what I'm going to do is walk through each of those problems, identify the factors, and then give you a solution for how to avoid that if you're considering getting into kayak fishing or if you just got into kayak fishing. So here's the deal. I think that what happens right now in our sport is people learn about kayak fishing, they decide to get into kayak fishing, and then they see videos like the ones that my son Austin and I put out where we've got these, $20,000 rigs with dual graph mounts and motors and all this other stuff and think that that's where you have to start. You have to remember, I've been doing this for over 30 years. My son's been doing this his whole life. He's 26 years old. He's been doing it 24 years. So he's grown up in these things. And so I'm not trying to play the game of saying we're at a different level, but we're at a different level because we've done all the things and we're much more comfortable in fishing kayaks than the average person. And so we kind of know how to wear our kayak as like a backpack, right? There's a place for everything and everything in its place. But you can't really start there, okay? So I'm going to talk to you about selecting the right fishing kayak. I'm going to talk to you about, not bringing too much gear and how you can incrementally evolve by knowing your limits and by constantly thinking about all of these factors as you go through your progression when it comes to kayak fishing. All right, so let's talk about buying the fishing kayak. I have an acronym that I've created from, again, all of these years of dealing with anglers, owning a retail shop, helping with kayak design, and it's called S.C.R.A.P.E. So before you scrape your money together to go buy a fishing kayak, remember this acronym, and we'll put it in the description box below in case you forget. What did he say C stood for? So the number one thing I think you should consider is stability / standability. You might say, I never want to stand in a fishing kayak, but the ability to stand up to pee, the ability to stand up to stretch your legs, the ability to stand up for a better vantage point, for better casting angles, is something that I think, even if you don't think you'll want it early on, you're going to want to be able to do it faster than you think, okay? So think of stability and standability. You want the kayak to be as stable as you need it to be. And a lot of people confuse initial stability and secondary stability, and I'll talk about that in part 2 of this video, kayak fishing myths and how to overcome some of the problems that go along with some of these myths. But we'll talk about that in the next video. So here's the deal. Stability is your number one thing, okay? If you're not comfortable, if you've got to focus on not flipping the whole day, you're thinking about not flipping instead of fishing. So you need to have that mindless stability. The C in S.C.R.A.P.E. is comfort. If you're not comfortable, you can't fish long enough. If you're not comfortable, you're thinking about that. Imagine going and running a marathon with a rock in your shoe. All you would be able to think about is that rock in your shoe. So if you can't be comfortable, then you're not going to be, successful, okay? I've got a video on comfort. We'll link up in the description box instead of spending this video going down that road. But I really think you should watch that video because comfort is, again, it's up there. Right after you get the stability part out of the way, comfort's number one. Now, having the ability to stand up makes even the most comfortable seat more comfortable, and it makes the crappiest seat more comfortable because you get to stand up, you get to stretch your legs, you get to get that blood flow, and you get to change position, and changing positions will lead to being a lot more comfortable, all right? The R is rigability, okay? I often see anglers spend money on a super cheap kayak, and then they spend more than it would have taken to buy that kayak with all the stuff on it, outfitting it, so now you've got a fully outfitted, crappier boat. So think about your rigging and your rigability before you buy your kayak. What stuff do you want to put on your boat? What are your non-negotiables? If you want a depth finder, do you want a pod? If you want a motor, is it ready for a motor and for the steering that goes with it? Think about the rigability. How are you going to outfit that boat? And are you going to have to come up with some crazy concoction after you buy the boat that makes that boat impractical after you buy it? So again, if you don't think about these things before you buy the boat, and then you buy the boat and you decide to do one of these things, now you've bought the wrong boat, which again, I say is the number one biggest problem, okay? Stability, comfort, rigability, and then affordability. And you probably say to yourself, man, why don't you put affordability first? Well, for one, I don't think affordability is the number one consideration, because if you think about how much the boat costs, and then you think about these things later, you could spend more trying to make a boat work for you than you would have spent buying a boat that already works for you. So think about affordability after you think about your stability, your comfort, your rigability, and then performance. And performance means, are you going to paddle, are you going to pedal, or are you going to power your boat? Because a paddle kayak is going to perform differently than a pedal kayak. A pedal kayak is going to perform differently than a powered kayak. So think about how you're going to power that kayak before you think about performance, and then decide on the performance. Are you looking for a long range boat that's going to cover a lot of water? Are you looking for a wide barge so you can carry more gear? So think about performance. And then the last thing in S.C.R.A.P.E is the everything else, the E. That means transportability, storage. What does it weigh? Can you load it and unload it yourself? All of those things you need to think about. So guys, I have a full video getting more in depth on that S.C.R.A.P.E acronym in the description box below. So be sure to go check that out if you're a beginner kayak fisherman. So again, buying the wrong kayak is the number one problem I see kayak anglers facing. Now, the next thing that I say is the second biggest problem is bringing too much gear. So the solution for that is don't bring too much gear. I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but to this day, even with some of, if not the best fishing kayaks on the market, the best gear on the market, I still have days where I grab this Bonafide RS 117, 2 or 3 rods, a tackle box to throw under the seat, and a dry bag with some extra gear and clothes in the front, and just keep it super simple. For one, I enjoy that kind of, I hate to say it this way, throwback fishing, throwback to my beginning stages and my early years of fishing, but it is a very fulfilling way for me to go catch a fish by taking it back to the basics. But if you're getting started, you should start there. Even if you think you want to advance to all of the craziest stuff out there and you buy a boat that will allow you to do it, don't put too much crap on your boat early on. Get out and find the limits, find the performance restrictions, find the performance advantages. So get out and know your boat, learn how it performs, learn the limits before you start putting a bunch of crap on it. I see people all the time start rigging their boat out before they ever sit in it. Get in there, do the sit and reach, put the butt time in the boat before you start rigging it. So I know it sounds silly. Use the keep it simple, stupid approach, the KISS method early on, because you can save yourself a lot of time, energy, effort, and frustration by not overdoing it in the beginning. I'll also tell you that you see my son Austin, you see myself, you see other guys with these really elaborate boats out there fishing, and we do it effortlessly. We fish around all the stuff that's on our boat because we've developed that system over time. If I gave you Austin's fishing kayak and said, here's the remote to the motor, here's the rod, go, you would spend half of the day hung up, tangled up, wondering where stuff is, but he doesn't, because he has a place for everything and everything in its place. But he's added those things systematically over his years of learning how to kayak fish, learning what he wants to get out of his experience. And again, that's not one of those things you can shortcut. You can't just slap a bunch of stuff on the boat and then feel comfortable. Like, if you want to learn how to get really comfortable kayak fishing, go night fishing and only put things where you can find them without turning your headlight on. When you're that comfortable with your rig, add more stuff. Because I promise you, even with as complicated as my rig is, and Austin's most advanced rig, we can find everything blindfolded, right? So you want to evolve with your system. Don't bring too much gear early on. Now, this last one sounds really simple. It's boat positioning and boat position management. But it is the number one problem that I see people making, even with really expensive and really advanced fishing kayaks. They either make too much noise, they spend too much time running their motor or picking up their paddle, banging it against the side of the boat to maintain boat position, that they end up spending more time fighting the boat than they do fighting the fish. And honestly, you can't be fighting the fish if you're fighting the boat, because if you're fighting the boat, you're not fishing. So therefore, you're not hooking one. So again, spend some time getting your boat position management down, okay? Little things like boat drift. Simple. Even in a frame seat like this, one of the easiest ways to manage boat position, drop a foot in the water. It keeps your boat from spinning. I see people misuse the phrase tracking all the time. Man, my boat don't track for crap. Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, every time I pick up my fishing rod to make a cast, the nose turns. That's not tracking. Tracking is when you're underway, when you're paddling, when you're pedaling, whatever, and the boat wanting to turn on its own. Drifting or spinning is not tracking. So super simple, easy ways to manage that are add an anchor, drop a foot in the water. Or guys, I'll tell you something that I used to do way early on in my kayak fishing career. I would take a big ass sock, fill it up with sand, run a rope through the handle, tie it off, and when I would get out there and the wind would start blowing, I would just let out 2 foot of line, and that wet sock full of sand would drag behind me, and it would resist that boat wanting to weather vane. The more crap you put on your boat, the more stuff you have sticking up in the back, the more that boat's going to want to constantly turn into the wind. If your boat is being blown around on days like today when the wind is blowing like crazy and it's constantly wanting to face the wind, it's just physics. It's not poor tracking. The ways you can solve that are little simple things like dropping an anchor line, dropping a pole like a stakeout pole or something simple in the water. But again, I want you to learn to manage your boat position by not overdoing it. A lot of times I see people start paddling and they'll get ready to make a presentation. They'll have a glide going, they'll pick up their rod, and by the time they get ready to cast, they've already ran into the treetop they're going to fish in. They're already out of position because they didn't anticipate the cast. So take your paddle and slow down. Take your pedals and start to back up. Remove the movement, the resultant movement, if you're going to want to make a pinpoint presentation, or if you're covering water, be fishing at a comfortable pace to where you can make that presentation. Now, the last and probably biggest thing that I see happen in the boat position game is being out of position. You've thought about all this stuff. You got your boat position management down. This one right here is a pro tip that honestly, I kind of figured out by watching my son Austin when he was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, losing really big fish, okay? And the light bulb went off one day when I was right behind him, and he sets the hook on this 10, 12 pound fish. It jumps, he sets the hook, and I'm like, keep up with it, buddy. He's reeling, fish jumps, shakes his head and throws the jig, and he literally cried for like 15 minutes after seeing that giant fish jump up and throw the jig on him. So here's what happened. Because he's making casts right off the nose of the boat, and because these boats are designed to be efficient going through the water, when you set the hook, that fish is coming at you. It's got something in its mouth going, don't like that, I'm gonna try to take that pressure off. So it's gonna go towards the source. Now what happens is, even if it goes sideways, your boat goes with it. You're raising your rod tip and you're fighting the fish, it's coming at you and you're coming at it. The first thing that I do, even in a beginner kayak, when I hook a fish is to drop my foot in the water. That creates enough drag to turn me broadside. I start changing angles. But the number one mistake you can avoid to avoid losing fish is to cast directly off the nose. When that fish hits it, set the hook. What that's doing is then pulling the boat towards the fish and the fish towards the boat. And even with a super high speed reel, you're probably not going to keep up. Then what's going to happen is you're going to get way back here trying to fight the fish. It's going to run at you, jump, put slack in the line. Then the weight of the lure is going to be advantageous for helping it throw the lure out of its mouth, and you're going to lose a bunch of fish. And I see this over and over and over again with young, inexperienced anglers, or even old anglers who've been doing it a while but just don't fish enough for that connection to go, oh man, this is why I keep losing fish. So one of the things that I would recommend is if you're heading towards a bank and you make a cast, drop that right foot in the water or lean left so you turn right so that you end up at least a 45-degree angle. So that way when you make that presentation and you set the hook, you're keeping up with that fish as the boat's coming around, and you've gotten pretty much the fight under control before you end up lined up with that fish. Or use an anchor pole. Down the road, use your motor. You set the hook, add a little pedal to the opposite side, which we'll talk about in advanced fish fighting strategies and kind of the progression of these videos. But the biggest mistake that I see people making with boat position management is they let the boat get completely facing the wrong way before they pick up their paddle. They don't manage boat position as it's changing. They wait until they're 180 out or 50 yards out of position before they try to fight. Constantly make micro adjustments instead of big macro adjustments, and you'll be a lot more successful. You'll be a lot more comfortable. Again, it's a water sport. Don't be afraid to get your feet wet. One of the easiest things you can ever do is drop a foot in the water, okay? If I'm casting that way and I don't want the nose coming that way, drop that right foot in the water. If you're still drifting, drop your other foot in the water. It'll blow your mind how much drag you can create by just dropping your foot in the water. Use an anchor wizard with an anchor off the back. Use an anchor wizard with a drag chain. The drag chain doesn't have to be on the bottom to create drag. It just has to be in the water. So think about managing your boat position and really think about avoiding getting directly lined up with the fish at any time during the fight. Do whatever you can to keep that fish at an angle where it's not coming directly at the boat, and I promise you, you'll lose less fish, which means you'll catch more fish. So guys, there it is. That is the biggest 3 problems that I see beginner kayak fishermen make. And I want to say this, I got 2 plugs for this video, and I want you to do me a favor. Consider joining KBF, help support the channel, and more importantly, it makes you part of the biggest community in kayak fishing. So not only are you getting advice from me, you're getting advice from 100,000 plus other kayak anglers who've learned a lot of lessons. You can contribute your lessons learned to the group. You can win amazing giveaways, and the benefits outweigh the cost, 10 or 20 to 1. So please head over to kayakbassfishing.com and consider joining Kayak Bass Fishing today. And most recently, my good buddy Darren Wendell and I have launched a company called KFAS, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training. So if you've been kayak fishing for a long time and you want to, kind of arm yourself with better information about being safe so that you're more confident on the water, you can still take the KFAS course. But if you're just getting started, if you're just thinking about getting started, one of the smartest things that you can do is to take the KFAS course by heading over to kfas.co, kfas.co, and learn about the things that you may not think of. Learn about the things that we spent decades learning to share with you, and went to other super experienced anglers to create this comprehensive course so that you're not scared of kayak fishing, but you're prepared, right? We don't want you to be scared. We want you to be prepared. It's one of the single smartest investments you can make in yourself so that you get more out of kayak fishing. You enjoy your time on the water. You spend less time frustrated. And if you spend less time frustrated, you're going to get more out of the sport. And if you get more out of the sport, you're going to do it longer. You're going to be more enthusiastic about sharing it with others. So guys, the ultimate 1-2 punch, the ultimate 1-2 punch in investing in yourself is join Kayak Bass Fishing. It helps support the channel. It helps support the community and all of our conservation efforts, and invest in making yourself safer out on the water by heading over to kfas.co. Again, we'll link both of those up in the description box. I'm going to challenge you guys to ask some other questions you want me to answer down in the comment section, and I'll answer those in a future video. We're going to spend a lot of time focusing on beginner kayaks, getting started, techniques and strategies for catching that first fish, catching more fish, and then ultimately catching bigger fish. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.